couple of beers deep, end of the interview, but we're going to start it like as the start of the interview. I've got MJ, I've got Benny from Corpus here from Melbourne. They've flown up for the day. We've just been talking shit, talking tattoo history, all this sort of stuff. So hang around, Flash, watch the end of the episode, learn, be inspired, send some comments, good, bad, indifferent, DMs, you name it.
We can
Thumbs
take
up.
We
like,
can take
subscribe.
it. And yeah. What is it?
Like, subscribe.
You should start to do this in the beginning.
Yeah, like, subscribe.
Will I make you money?
Yeah, it'll help. More,
I don't know. This one's not getting monetized.
more eyes, man. More eyes on it, more money. Yeah.
But it was great, man. I had so many sick memories at that place. Like, I remember one time I come into work one day, and in the diary, like I used to do like 3 o'clock till later.
Yeah.
And Kenny's like, "Oh, we booked this guy in." He called up. Hopefully, he turns up, and everyone was stitching everyone up all the time. Right?
Yeah.
He goes, he wants a snake drawn on his cock. And I'm like, fuck, really? And I'm like 19. He's like, mate, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, whatever. He goes, charge him $100 just to draw it on. I don't want any commission. You can keep all the money. That was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it was like $100.
I was doing a printing apprenticeship at the same time, and my first year as a printing apprentice was $163 a week. So it was big bucks.
So there's the
And I'm sitting there, and we used to have like a room, tattoo room, and there was a window, but we had flash all over it and little peeky holes in it where you could like peek through.
That's some Scooby-Doo shit.
Yeah.
Well, that was their version of privacy back then, you know. So anyway, they're out in the waiting room, and it was probably about 6:30, and it was an older, probably my age now, so older, like about a 50-year-old, full Hasidic Jew. Came up, and we were up some stairs, and he's coming up, and he had a cane, and he was limping, right? And I'm thinking, because we used to get so many people come up, mistaking us for the sex shop, and they'd pop their head around and go, "Hey mate, how can I help you?" I go, "You got any videos?" And I go, "Yeah, what sort do you want?" You know, that's another story. So, and then I'm like, "Oh, blah blah." So it's him. He wants this, and I'm thinking, I'm 19, going, Jews, tattoos, blah blah blah. This doesn't work. The guy, "How can I help you?" "I'm here for my appointment." And I'm like, this is the ultimate stitch up. And it was real. They're sitting out in the waiting room, and he comes in and he goes, I said, "All right, so what do you want to get?" He goes, "I want to get an outline of a snake on my penis."
Come on.
Okay, all right, mate. I hear the slight rustling of the plant out in the waiting room. All right, mate. I'm like, fuck, here we go. All right, get it out, mate. Oh, look what's here.
Yeah.
Something I was
that
before.
big?
So he gets it out, and I literally got a green texter and like pivoted my hand here and just sort of drew this snake on his cock.
We swim bullets, or like we
Not really, just go, this is so fucked.
Yeah.
And you know what, back then, thank God there was no mobile phones or cameras around.
Yes.
Because that'd be haunting me today.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, I drew this thing on, and then he's like, oh, he made the mistake of saying, "I want it bigger," right? Wow. And then in the waiting room, they just start cracking up laughing, right? And he's like, "Who's here? Who's here?" I go, "I'll probably just those people in a waiting room." And then he got real weird. I said, "Look, mate, I'll draw it on bigger for you, but I'm not rubbing it off."
Rubbing
and
it
then
out.
that set them off again. And one of the boys goes, "Oh, he's good." You know? And then he wigged out, and thankfully put it away and hobbled on out of there. But I remember just thinking, how fucking mental is this? You know, like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Did you get $100?
Yeah, I got $100 for sure.
No one knows that you started your career as a semi-professional dick wrangler.
Yeah.
Amongst other things.
Yeah.
Dildo seller. Vibrator salesman.
Yeah.
You know, never cleaned out the wank tank booths.
I guess that's what you got to do back then. I heard.
Yeah, mate, it's wild.
Among other things, but
like I've only ever tattooed face once, and it was this mad skinhead dude come in. He had fucking a bull terrier tattooed on his neck. He already had teardrops. He was probably about 25. And back then, Brunswick was a mad skinhead area, right?
Yeah.
So he comes in at about 8:30 one Friday night. He's got fucking booze on his breath and everything. I'm like, oh, here we go. Just me in the shop. I want more teardrops. I'm like, oh, mate, I'm about to close. He's like, no, you're going to do them. I'm like, all right, mate, blah, blah, blah. Did a couple more on him, redid the one he had, and then and did blue, and then he wanted a white highlight before white highlights were a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Loved it, looked in the mirror, everything's cool. And then he goes, oh, I want to do a couple more over here. And I remember going, mate, I don't think that's a good idea. It's going to look like you're a crybaby. And he went, yeah, fuck that.
That's true. Yeah.
True, right? And plus,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it, mate. I'm already out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
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 And then, so I did it, blah, blah, blah. He comes back a month later, and I do a big belly rocker on him, Sverige, because he was of Swedish descent in Old English, right? Comes in, booked in to get it done. Teardrop said, nothing said. I'm thinking, sweet, he's happy. Comes back in for the belly rocker, and he's got mascara over him.
Oh. Okay.
I didn't even ask. I didn't want to ask. So many like mental things like that would happen in that shop. It was awesome.
Was it like the Coburg end? Like on?
Yeah. Whereabouts in Brunswick?
Sydney Road, like probably in between the old Corpus and the new Corpus.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right near used to be a big nightclub called Bombay Rock. Big pizza. Smack like maybe a block or two back from where Green Lotus is now.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
closer to the city.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
No, I think it's Dawson Street.
Yeah.
Dawson
Street,
two streets back from Dawson Street, where all the cops have their cars and stuff.
Yeah, the booze bus and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
it was awesome,
right.
man. It was
Fucking
epic.
wild. Yeah, Brunswick's strange because Benny and I, obviously Benny's worked on the Goldie, and then I worked in St Kilda.
Yeah.
And like it's an absolute zoo. Like you're just seeing the wildest shit all the time. And then I thought like moving to a private studio. Moving to a private studio, it's like, things are going to be a bit more subdued and stuff.
Yeah.
But now we just got the vantage point to the craziest shit in Brunswick. It's like every day it's just a live feed of Brown Cardigan.
Like here on the corner, like sirens, people screaming and yelling. Have you got binoculars?
We don't need them.
We don't need them.
They're close enough.
We're on
They're 2020, and it's pretty funny being at that vantage point, like right up, and you can hear everything.
Sound rises.
And where we are, there's like I've never seen it before in my life, coming from like working in Queensland, but like pokey establishments. There's not a pub with pokies in it. It's just a
VIP lounge, the Dragons.
No one's drinking in there.
It's just a magnet for everything under the sun.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing it at like.
When you say that, do you mean like entrepreneurship?
Yes. People that believe in the hustle.
Yeah. Some freaky laptop things going on.
Yeah.
With respect, but
it's great.
Yeah, it's a very interesting part of the city.
But it keeps it real, and that is been one of the backbones of traditional tattooing from day one. It's always been in the rough and tumble areas.
Yeah,
it's never been traditional tattooing's never been like highbrow in a polished, high-end, fancy tattoo studio or private studio.
Yes,
I'm sure that it is out there, but its roots have been street.
That's it.
Totally, and I think Brunswick's whole thing is it used to be pretty like dingy, underdeveloped and stuff, and it was sort of like. I don't know. I don't want to say impoverished, but then it like
working class.
All students moved there because it was cheap.
Yeah.
And then it became the cool, trendy, hipster sort of neighborhood because all the young people lived there.
Yeah.
And then because it became cool and trendy and hip, now it's starting to get gentrified. Where there's a lot of like apartment buildings going up everywhere, but it's still just rat fucked with graffiti, just everywhere.
But even before that, if you look at the housing that was there before you get in there, back streets, they're small houses. Yeah. They're like what in Sydney they would call like workers' cottages. Yeah. Two bedroom houses that a whole family was brought up in. Yeah. And it was a big factory area. Yeah. Slum essentially.
Yeah. Well, is it like we were talking about before with like Alf and stuff? Yeah. Is that like what it would have been like for them? Like staying in that area. Yeah. Cheap enough.
Yeah, working class areas like
working class area.
Toorak, South Yarra. That's where all the big barons and the rich barons of industry would live, and the rich people would live. And they exactly, but they would have their factories over here before they maybe went further out to Broadmeadows and Dandenong and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it was still very working class.
You grew up in Reservoir.
Yeah, Reservoir, East Preston.
East Preston,
Yeah, and then later on I moved into like the best way to say it is the equivalent of Campbelltown, like an area called Mill Park, which was like a new housing estate. And then it was just paddocks. and I was like riding dirt bikes. And I was the best.
Yeah. Yeah, my girlfriend's mum lives in Mill Park.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You've been to the Plough Hotel,
I haven't.
Stable Shopping Centre, mate. My old stomping grounds.
Maybe I have been to that pub.
Trek
Yeah.
out.
I don't know. Yeah.
Trek up.
You know, but that was the thing back then. Young families wanted to move out because they didn't want to live in an old weatherboard house on a big block in Preston.
Yeah.
They wanted to move out to the new suburbs with a, double brick house with aluminium window frames and a tiled roof and all this sort of stuff.
Okay.
The new
Yeah,
way.
and they wanted to live out there because it was new and modern, but then they realised it was shit and they couldn't move back because they were outpriced. And
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
And then all the land gets subdivided in duplexes and apartments and
Yeah.
So that was the start. That was your start.
yeah,
The
that's why I
first
grew
2
up in
years
Melbourne.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, before that I tattooed in Reservoir.
Okay.
Before I went to Brunswick.
Yeah.
Tattoo Charlie.
A guy called Tattoo Charlie, who's one of my dad's best mates. They were like dive buddies. And he was an old bank robber, old Sharpie, Garbo, tow truck driver,
Entrepreneur.
entrepreneur of that era, and
That's what this
he
podcast
was.
is about,
I just
isn't
thought
it?
he was the coolest dude ever. He looked like Rod Stewart, fucking I drove a HQ Monaro. Cool. Like, I was born in 1973. AC/DC was like in prime, like probably Highway to Hell, the album. It's a long way to top. ZZ Top came out with LaGrange. You had HQ Monaros, XYGT Falcons racing around Bathurst. Cold Chisel was just hitting the airwaves.
Yeah.
Even though I was a child, it's still my generation.
Yeah, it's still your. That's your
And those people that were getting tattooed then, ACD, subcultures were so minimal. You could be a footy head, a cricketer, a bogan.
Sharpie.
Yeah, but even then, they were still grouped into the one thing.
Right.
Like, there was no video games. There was no gamers. There was no...
influences.
Influences were
That's a different
very,
world,
very limited at what subcultures you could go towards. So being like what they would call here a Westie or a Bogan or a Reza or whatever, that was the wildest thing you could be.
Yeah.
You couldn't be anything else because it hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah.
So, I was just attracted to the adventurous side of life, and which was just all the rat bags, hanging out with guys older than me. Then you go down the road of hanging out with them on cruise, smoking weed, all the rest of it. You don't go down a formal way of life. I remember from about 12 never wanting a normal life.
Yeah.
Then tattooing came on the horizon, and to me it was the most magical world. So my childhood, my mid-childhood, teens and everything was hanging out with Charlie after school, weekends, school holidays.
Was Charlie like the first adult you ever saw with tattoos? Was
No,
he like
no,
the
I've
first person
seen
you saw?
plenty of other people around
Yeah.
because I didn't grow up in an affluent area.
Yeah.
So you saw a lot of it. The Garbos that I wanted to be a Garbo when I was young because it was TNT Garbo company.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, they'd have a ghetto blaster with the tape deck on the back of it, playing Akadaka and Rose Tattoo.
Hanging on the side of a truck.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
covered in tattoos. Every Christmas, everyone in the street would give them a case of beer because they're all on the piss by fucking 11 o'clock.
Yeah, they've done their
work.
4:30.
So
Yeah.
Charlie was a Garbo. He
Yeah.
would do the Garbo round, and then he had like his set up in the back. This is before I started working with him. In the back of his house, he had his like granny flat converted into a tattoo shop. Garbo in the morning, tattoo in the arvo into the evening till he got too pissed and passed out. Get up, turn it over again.
It's crazy when you think. I remember first seeing tattoos and didn't think it was a job. Like people just had them.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
like walk down the road and especially being in New Zealand, growing up, it was like, oh yeah, that person just has them.
Yeah.
And then you finally kind of click and then actually someone went through that
There's
and got put it on.
Yeah, paid
And-
for it.
and
There's
got paid
actually
for
a
it.
business
Yeah,
that I can walk into.
Yeah, and then obviously there's kitchen wizardry and
Yeah.
home job style, but didn't click for ages.
I think that's what shocked my parents the most, like getting into tattooing, where it's like, what do you mean? Like, you go into Sydney to work? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, how? I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking talk to a dude.
In the corporate world, the best you can hope for is a work trip.
Yeah.
Maybe once a year if you're on the boss's good book to
Yeah.
go to some sort of convention.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
my
it's-
parents, like, they always been super supportive.
Yeah.
But like when I got a job in a tattoo shop, they were like, "The fuck are you doing?" Like they were so anti-tattoos when I was getting them, and it wasn't until they met Dan, who I apprenticed under, and came into the shop, and it changed their perception of, well, they'd never been into a tattoo shop before, and they're like, "Oh, Dan's lovely. This shop is nice. Oh, this isn't what we thought," but they're like, "It's a phase." And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm apprenticing now," and they're like, "What the fuck, Michael?"
Why didn't you introduce them to Brian?
They did.
Oh, but on a good day, Braid is wonderful.
He was super charming. Yeah, my parents were like, "He's lovely." I'm like, "He's a fucking animal."
I used to work with this dude Braid on the Gold Coast, and one of my best stories of him, we used to do night shift. I used to do night shift. All the boys would rotate. He'd do it quite regularly. And I remember one time, winter, we'd sit out the back. All right, next tattoo's yours.
Yeah.
And it's a small bit of tribal.
Gold Coast winter.
Yeah. He picks it up and he walks out into the waiting room. And there's like a young 18-year-old kid sitting on there on the couch in the waiting room on his own. He holds up the stencil and goes, "All right, who's getting this?" And as the kid clocks it, he's like, and then he goes, "This piece of shit." And the kid just goes, probably never to get another tattoo again.
Yeah, just completely take him out. Yeah.
But like you said, like a phase, my parents thought... My dad didn't care too much.
Yeah.
But my mum definitely thought it was a phase I was going through.
Yeah.
And I'd grow out of it.
Yeah. I think because I was going to uni, my parents thought, "Oh, he's going to see this through. He's going to finish. He's going to graduate, and then be whatever he studied at uni."
Yeah.
And then to be doing this, they're like, "Well, are you going to finish uni, or what are you going to do?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that." And then I started apprenticing, so then it was like, well, this is going to, like, this isn't going to last long, or whatever.
Yeah.
But then, like, when you start doing work trips, or you go overseas and you tattoo overseas or whatever, and they're like, what do you mean? How are you able to do this through tattoos? And now they get it. Like, now they're savvy.
But back then, so out of their comprehension that this is even possible, let alone for my son.
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
I remember growing up, my old man was like, "Make sure you get a job that can take you around the world."
Yeah,
Like, he had that cool mindset of like, which was sick. Like, and he hated tattoos, but I was just like, "Oh yeah, go around the world,
Join the army."
yeah, join the army,
yeah.
Go to East Timor or something." But like,
but Benny was a house painter before he was a tattooer.
Nice. So you got the patience.
Yes. Yeah, I like was not like a formal apprenticeship or anything like that. It was more of like an opportunity.
Should there even be ones for house painting?
Yeah.
They should just do a weekend course in Bunnings.
Yeah.
What
I got a lot of shit from every other like tradie under the sun. It was like 10 o'clock and I was eating a sandwich, eating my lunch, and they were like,
"Get rid of that boy.
Where's your beer?
Where's your Monster Energy?"
I'm not a Blake.
What was really fun was like when Benny messaged me about like potentially coming to Corpus or whatever. I'm like, "Yeah, sweet. I'll let Stubbs know. Like you can chat to him or whatever. Like should be sweet."
Yeah.
But we we're setting up the new Corpus, so I'm like, "Fuck yeah, there's some painting that needs doing." But like before Benny even had the job, he was in there every night with us while we're like trying to kit out the new shop, already involving yourself in being a part of the team before you had the job. And I reckon that secured you the spot. You know, you were in there swinging the brush, you were painting the skirting boards, you were doing all that shit when you didn't need to be, because you didn't technically have a fucking job at that point.
But you obviously love tattooing and love
I
being
love
around.
tattooing.
So this is going to segue into the start of your apprenticeship, and then I've been waiting for this, people. How did you end up on
the GC?
Yeah, you're so GC.
I am. Yeah. I always say to people, I'm like, that's like the most Kiwi thing you can do.
Move to the Gold Coast.
Yeah, it's moved to the Gold Coast.
Totally.
Yeah, and then so I was painting in New Zealand, house painting, wanting to tattoo, getting into tattoos, and painting was that thing where it was like I was getting a bit of money a week where I could get on the piss on a Friday, Saturday night, save a bit of money. I was lucky enough that I was sleeping on a couch.
You were getting tattooed then?
I was getting that money and then save the money that I was saving and wasn't going to rent, which I was fortunate for. It was to get tattooed.
Nice.
So, and then I was painting like Flash, terribly, but like to build up like a body of work, and then to go get tattooed. So I was going to Wellington. My mum lives in Wellington.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, maybe I could go see her more. Maybe go live with her if I could try and get down there. Get tattooed in Wellington. Got tattooed in my hometown, Hamilton. Jacob Cross in Hamilton. And then building up to Auckland, because Auckland's a big smoke, you know.
Right.
That's like Sydney, or the equivalent of Melbourne, you know. So it was like, all right, I need to get some money, try and go out there with a body of work.
Yep.
And try and get into it. But
were you getting any guidance or showing anyone that was tattooing you in Wellington what you were doing?
I actually lived with a guy. He was my oldest stepsister's partner. So that's a bit weird. But like, I was living with him in Auckland at the time.
Yep.
And he was a tattooer at Otutahi on K Road.
Yep.
And so he was doing...
K Road's like the area, isn't it?
K Road's like King's Cross of Auckland, I'd say.
Cool.
Yeah, K Road. So there's the gay bars, there's everything under there. You know, the drags, there's tattoo shops, there's all the crazy nightlife, the alternative thing. Yeah. So and when I was living in Auckland, I'm jumping around a bit, but yeah, like he had that sort of influence. His name's Mitch. And that's when he was sort of showing me painting and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, to get on the Gold Coast, so I was doing that for a while, and then I feel like when I got Instagram for the first time, I feel like I'm definitely that Instagram generation.
What era are we talking? Because
this is 20...
to me, Instagram's what, about 10, 11, 12 years old, max?
Yeah, so I was at 20. I was still in New Zealand.
2011.
Yeah, so I was a little bit after that.
I feel like it
for me,
like started then, or it was around then, and then just like everything, like tattooers are resistant to change.
Yeah.
And it took a while for tattooers to embrace it. Probably around like 2015 for tattooers to like start embracing Instagram.
So I landed on the Gold Coast in 2015. In 2014, I got offered, like I replied to an Instagram advertisement, which was just a post back then.
Yep.
So like you're saying, like they take a while to change. That was the first. You know, you see Instagram like apprenticeships or job positions on the internet all the time now.
Yeah.
So when I first seen, there was one in WA Inc. at the time.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks later, it was Whiskey Lane Tattoo Company on the Gold Coast.
It's pretty crazy to think.
And that was first of its kind.
You were like open to just packing up from the other side of the world and just going for it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's it.
New Zealand.
Yeah, the other side of the ditch.
No, I know. We can take a piss,
like
but in all seriousness,
it feels like that.
I know of people right now in Sydney that have been offered apprenticeships, for example, in Campbelltown.
Yeah.
And they've said no because it's too far.
Nah,
totally.
And my mind is just like,
Yeah.
Boom, yeah. Like I was saying,
how
like,
bad do you want it?
And that's it. Like I was saying, like my mum lives in Wellington, you know, and from where I was living, it was 6 hours drive away. So I was like, well, I want to stop living with dad and potentially, hopefully, move in with mum.
Yeah.
You know, being a single parent, like that could be a way of getting in if I can get an opportunity in Wellington. So I was always prepared to move.
Yeah. Do what it takes.
Yeah, do what it takes. And like when I got it, it was so funny because like Mick, one of the bosses at the time, was like, you know, you're not going to get paid.
Yeah, we'll bleep this out. So
yeah. You're not going to get paid. Yeah. And it was just like, I'll do it. But he's like, no, you understand, like, you're going to have to, when you come over, you're going to, like, have to find a second job. You're going to have to get paid, like, from that job. You're going to be here 6 days a week. And I was like,
It's probably the equivalent of getting a HECS at university. Yeah. But you're paying for it on the spot. On the day.
Yeah. So, and that's how I, like, landed. And, like, worst comes to worst, it was like, I got a ticket to go back, and I don't know, it was like a couple months' time. I took that ticket back anyway just to go have a good time in New Zealand. Yeah. And it was sort of just like, all right, let's go there. Let's figure it out. Yeah. If it doesn't work out, like...
You tried.
Fuck, we tried, mate. Yeah.
At least you're not going to regret not trying.
Yeah. And it's been, like, close to, like, 10 years. 2015, so... Yeah, it's getting close to that 10-year mark of coming over here by myself.
Give us a little bit of a rundown of like how your progression was in that studio, as far as from making no money to getting your first, I imagine, tattooing people for free or cheap. Yeah. Was it Gumtree? Was it Marketplace? Was it whatever? And then when did you then get, all right, you're good to go?
Good to go. So, it was still Instagram. Yeah. And it was still like, you know... At the time, I can't remember like the amount of people following it like the shop, so that helped.
Because it blew up. It was like a good shop.
Whiskey Lane was huge.
Out of the
And
area.
Whiskey Lane was doing events like the Sailor Jerry events and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was a
and I
heavy
think
traditional
even
shop,
around then, that's probably when the licensing came in and
and
Goldie had a hardcore biker scene.
Yeah,
the licensing got rid of a lot of it.
I reckon it came 6 months after that, I reckon. Yeah. I only saw one bikie in that tattoo shop, and he was asking for piercings for his missus.
Yeah.
And I was shaking in my boots. But like starting out, I was lucky with the Instagram on their page, and then my own thing, and then it was more like I was working in a restaurant 3 nights a week, doing all that. That was enough to cover my costs. I lived 5 minutes up the road, thankfully. So I'd push back to work. And then the boys were busy. So like Will and Will Duncan, Jason Meredith, Adam, who owns it as well at the time. So I just started yarning to their clients. What's going on? And I had this stiff as New Zealand accent, you know, like
what's up, bro? Choice, bro.
Oh, it's me, Niz.
Yeah. So like they spotted me out. Like they were just like, who's this person? You know? Oh, it's the young fella. Like, he's doing painting and stuff.
Normally
so
the Kiwis are up near Helensvale.
I was a South Coast bro. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Like they, I started doing that way, you know, like within the shop, like, you know, because I'd be trying to paint and they'd be, oh, who's this new person?
So
in
if
the
you're
shop?
painting, you're not in the back room, you're sitting out inside of everyone.
Yeah, well, at the start they allowed me to paint, and then it was pretty classic, like apprenticeship. Like after a while, I was like, no, you're not allowed to paint. You know, answer the phones, write people in, you know, look after everyone.
Time to lean, you got time to clean.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it was.
Learning the
like
proper
that.
skill set.
Yeah, it was. Like, you wash those tubes, man, and like make sure those.
What
like,
were you
windows
telling
are
me
clean.
the first time you were washing tubes? They had to say, mate, put some gloves on.
They said, this is your area.
That was me.
Well, the boy, like, I've never been around knives my whole life. It's the most Australian thing ever. Everyone wants a fucking good knife here. And so the boys, I'm scrubbing tubes for the first time. It's January, so I'm sweating into the like sink and just like regretting my decision. I'm like, why is it so hot here? Like, what have I done? But the boys would come in because if I wasn't washing tubes, they're flicking the knives at me. But when I was washing the tubes, they'd come up to me, obviously not have the knife
ready for
out.
that biker attack.
Yeah, that's what it was. They didn't have the knife out, but they would just have it and they would just go bang in the back of me. So I'm just going to listen and go, oh, freaking out because I got PTSD from knives this big. Well, welcome to Australia, mate. I got photos.
That's not a knife.
I got photos of Kiwis just like shagging sheeps on my like in my area. My area was it was the washing the tube bay.
Not
I had
that
Kiwis
long ago,
sheep.
but it could have been 100 years ago because you couldn't do that now.
You can't do, that's it. I had all blacks with things in and out of them. So it was a good start, and after that, like talking to the boys and the clients, and they're all young, and then eventually it came like I feel like I can talk to anyone, and then it progressed.
It's one of the greatest skills in tattooing, man, being able to talk.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And like today, I've never met you before. I've obviously known him for a little bit. But it's like, man, I've known you forever.
I've had the same thing too. With respect, like it's like, oh, this is this, and then you're so cool to meet you too.
It's just fun, man.
And I think like I've always been like pretty much like the youngest in the shop always with every shop I've been in. So it's like you just I don't know, you learn to like deal and hang out with and like understand like people that are older than you.
There is a pecking order. Whether like people like now want to
acknowledge it or not.
Acknowledge it, where it's like that's unfair. It's like there is, and there is in every career. It's like there's always going to be a senior or whatever, someone that's been at it longer than you.
And so, when you're doing something permanent, it's okay. It's not as if you're selling clothing. In a retail store.
Cutting hair or something. Maybe.
You wouldn't want your surgeon doing a surgery on you because they're new to the game and they think they can do it. Same as tattooing.
Well, that's the thing. All these people that are like your seniors in whatever industry, it's like they've made the mistakes for you to learn from. So if they like don't do that for this reason, I've made that mistake. Don't make the mistake I made. You'd be crazy not to listen.
And if you're open to it, it's going to fast track you.
Totally.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot at the pub with the boys. Than being in the tattoo shop because it was like, do your work, do your job, and then you know, like I said, didn't get paid, so I got paid in tattoos and I got paid in beers, you know.
Yeah.
And then like the boys would
I'm doing
shy
double
up.
time.
Yeah. And the boys would loosen up, and then you hear things and you take things on. But yeah, like
And
going
it's,
back to
and
that
it's
talking to
also
everyone kind
it's
of
also
thing.
that thing where it's like these guys who you probably followed on Instagram and you idolize them and you love their tattoos and all that sort of stuff, and they're telling you about the worst fuck up they've ever done, and you're like, it humanizes them, and you're like, oh man, these guys who I look up to so much have had bad days where shit's gone wrong and all that sort of stuff, and the fact that you bond and you go and you have beers and all that sort of stuff where you find out those stories, because otherwise they can
That's how you got jobs too,
they can
actually.
like keep that shit close to their chest or whatever, but once a few beers happen, they'll tell you about the worst fuck
Or
up
they'd
they've
stitch you
ever
up
made.
too. They're like, there's an apprentice down there.
Yeah.
Tattoo,
You want to earn
you know?
$100?
Yeah. I've got my dick. I've got this dick tattoo that I want.
Yeah, I want a snake on my dick.
Mental, you know. But that's sort of like one thing I really love about your generation and the current one. Like, for me, essentially, I had to go overseas because I had no one. It was very guarded back then. There were maybe 2 people in every shop.
Yeah.
You know, and no one jumped around like they do today.
Yeah.
So, you know, in my era, there was me, Geordie Cole, Colin Gower, maybe 1 or 2 other younger tattooers. We didn't have mobile phones. We didn't have our numbers. There was no social media. Might see each other once a year at a tat show.
Yeah.
So you're around all these older people who were the proper gatekeepers, which were threatened by you, which would tell you fuck all.
Yeah.
So in the end, even though when I was with Kenny, it was a great environment, I'd go and get tattooed by Trevor McStay or Paul Braniff. I'd sort of maxed out what I could learn and my opportunities. So I had to go overseas. And that's when I wasn't a threat, because they knew you're on a 2-year work visa.
Yeah.
You're just a sponge, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
and,
whatever,
you know, you can recognise some names, and then they're, you know, you buff the ego because you've heard of them from overseas, and things just roll on naturally. So that was my version of that.
Yeah.
So, and now it's great.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
nice.
the thing. I feel like the whole gatekeeper mentality, it just comes from insecurity.
For sure.
Because if you think, like, especially someone that's starting or wanting to get into tattooing, that if they start, that they're going to steal work from you.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's exactly that. It's personal insecurities.
And it's like, if you think that someone that's been tattooing for...
Get your hand around that.
someone that's been tattooing for a week is going to steal all your business and wreck your shop, then you mustn't think very highly of your own shit if you think that, you know, and it's like, they want to get into it because they're in love with the idea of it for the same way that you were in love with the idea of it when you got into it.
Us 3 in this room, we're infatuated by it. It's 24/7, and it's amazing. Like, you know, I let you take photos of all of this stuff, and I'm like,
appreciate
man, for sure. Yeah, but what's the point of me? It was given to me. All of that stuff there, majority of it was from Greg's retirement fund. Like, he bought and he collected, knowing that there's no super, there's no holiday pay, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
So he was just, and he loved tattooing. So, and he was so glad it went to a good home. So, you know, biggest part of my collection's gone to Tattoo Rosies, you know.
Yeah.
And a few other key people.
It looks good in there. Like,
because I know it's in the right spot. So, few people, take as many photos as you want, because I know it's going to a good home.
It's like, what's the point of traditional tattooing if you're not continuing a tradition?
Yeah.
If you're not continuing the tradition of Greg's designs, of Bob's designs, of all that sort of stuff.
Which comes from a lineage way back
Because
when.
if you're keeping
stuff now.
yeah, if you're keeping that shit to yourself and no one's seeing it, it dies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't keep going. And the whole thing, if you love it, which is why you bought it, because you love it, you want to preserve it and continue it.
If you love someone, set them free.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all, but it is all that sort of stuff. And what I've kind of learned is, like, you know, I get even people in this studio go, why are you showing so much stuff? Because I want to.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
I don't need your permission.
Yeah.
And even other old school tattooers will say, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I go, mate, I believe these people deserve it. I don't need to justify to you why I'm allowed to show this person this.
When the percentage of them actually going to use half of it.
Even if you get 4 designs out of today, amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah, but the gatekeeper thing is changing, and it's changing quick.
Well, like most of it's on the internet. Like,
yeah, but you guys would be considered senior stylists now.
That's correct. Only because
I'd be the owner of Vidal Sassoon or something like that.
Only because there's always constantly new tattooers, which is sick.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Like,
I'm not. I mean,
people
not that
see
long,
people see that as a problem, that there's always new tattooers popping up.
Yeah.
But you know, if they work at it, they deserve the exact same spot that you do, and the people that don't will die off. So it's always evolving and changing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like by that standard, because there's a lot of people that start tattooing, do it for a couple of years and can't hack it. The stuff like COVID wiped out so many people that just kind of there's no safety net. It's gnarly. There's no super. There's no sick pay. There's no anything. There's no backup plan, safety net. So it's like people are like, oh man, this is fucked. I don't want to do this. I'm gonna go work in a bank now. You know?
People want the security. Yeah, like man, one more lockdown, I would have been gone.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just the way it is. Like I remember, like even my mum's generation. My mum left the corporate world, and she was a real estate agent for a period of time. Before the GFC hit in around 2008. So back then, as a real estate agent, there was no base salary. So she had to leave that, which was her dream job, that she was probably in her 50s then, you know, and go and get a job in a shopping centre, in centre management for security. And that's what happens with COVID now. And that's probably what's going to happen right now with the economic downturn as well.
Absolutely, because
I've already heard of tattooers going back and working with their dad because he's a carpenter, or someone's doing this 2 days a week as well.
That's okay. Like if that's what they need to survive, and they realize that's what there's no shame in that as well. It's better to do that than to stay in it
till the end. Till you've got no options.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's
that working hard thing too. It's like, are you gonna work harder or like go more into it, or cut it back because you need to go work that other job for 2 days?
Yeah, I've actually
like
got probably...
Where's that line, you know? Like,
yeah, for me, I'd have more respect for that person that's going to do that and still maintain tattooing.
Yeah, that's it too, because it is like you are going into a completely different world again. Like,
and probably give you...
establish
a greater appreciation. Like, I got an older guy that works here... Actually, not older than you guys, younger than me, so in the middle.
mid-range.
He I won't name names, but he honestly admitted he ruined his career at one point when early Instagram came along. He was the old dog in the area and slagging everything off.
Refused.
Had to take time off work and go and drive a forklift. And he said it was a very humbling experience.
Instead of what? Like, instead of adopting like Instagram or something?
Yeah, because he just burnt himself.
So it's like TikTok.
And then, did get on Instagram and burnt people.
Oh.
And then had to, like, because he was dirty in the shop, like a local shop. I've been here before you. Why now you busy?
Yeah.
Because, mate, you're maybe in your early, mid-30s and you're not cool anymore. Even though you were tattooing when you were 18, 19, you're not the man anymore. You know, and it's a fucking big ego buster. Yeah, but thankfully, has turned it around, but I think probably a good thing because we've got a greater appreciation of tattooing now and not what to do again.
Yeah. Well, that story is as old as time. And like when I started tattooing, Instagram wasn't really in the space with tattooing. It was all Facebook. Everyone was like posting their tattoos to Facebook. You'd have a page for your tattoos, all that sort of stuff. Then Instagram came in and people either got on board with it or people were like, but I'm already putting photos on Facebook. Why do I need to do this new thing? So that happened, and then those people got left behind.
Why do I have to have this argument with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not the one you want to argue with.
Totally. And then now it's TikTok. It's all the people that are like, oh, fuck TikTok, all that sort of stuff. I'm Instagram till I die. It's like,
once you TikTok, you won't stop.
Yeah.
Totally, man. But it's the exact same thing. Because before Facebook, it was MySpace. You know, it's always something. Before that, it was something else. You know, so it's always the thing. So it's like you got to adapt and change with it because the times change.
That's the industry, isn't it? Though.
Totally.
It's like when photocopiers came in.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, one of my you've met Lel before, like Lel Hardy. Like he says things like, "Do you really think if someone came around to Sailor Jerry and said, hey mate, I've got all these pre-made needles and this pre-mixed ink, it's amazing. Do you want some?" He'd just go, yeah, man, I can tattoo like 5 more people a day.
Yeah.
25 more people a week. Fuck yeah.
Boom.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. You have to be, like when I came into tattooing, it was started on the cusp of custom design work and younger people like, you know, like Geordie Cole and Colin Gower, they were more advanced artistically than me, and they were ahead of the game in better quality shops, doing cooler work. So it took me a while to sort of try and catch up. But the older guys were like, fuck appointments, fuck doing custom work, because I can do this off the wall and probably make more money with fuck all effort.
Yeah.
The biggest thing you had to do was make your needles and sterilize. So, you know, and then that went that way. And, you know, not many of them survived. And I think now we're in another era of it, of the modern thing is adapting all of these other social media and self-promotion skills to survive. Yeah. There's no glory in being a struggling artist or being an amazing artist that's got no work because you're stubborn.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because that's the crazy thing. Like, you got those older guys or like people that are successful without having to do these like TikToks and stuff. I've been in the age of like Instagram a whole career, and then it's adapting to TikTok, and you know, like, so it's like, you can turn your nose up at it, but it's like, or just let it be and just go with it and just learn it, and use it to your advantage.
Yeah, well, because,
and it could be anything. Like Forrest time lapses his tattoos all the time, and for me, I'm just like, I don't want anything else watching me. I want to give that person a good experience, and I'm worried about the task in hand. I can't quite get myself to film myself tattooing, but I'm filming my paintings more. So I'm in my own space, feel more comfortable doing filming myself painting. So it's like, okay, well, there you go. There's that thing. Take that little leaf and like go with it, and then hopefully build up to actually like time lapsing tattoos and stuff. For sure, it will.
You'll just have to build that self confidence.
Exactly. And that's just, but it's like, all right, where am I going to fit in this, and where do I, like, what's the approach, and then just dive into it. It's
like success leaves clues, as does failure. Exactly, like you're self-made one way or the other.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
it's not just I'm successful, self-made.
Yeah, no mistakes. It's
this one as well.
Yeah, it's 1,000 mistakes, and then you've got that one. Yeah. So it's pretty nuts to go from.
Well, tattooing
different
in the last
platforms,
since maybe, let's say 85, 95, 2005, 40 years. Tattooing has been on a fucking nuclear-powered rocket ship like that.
Yeah.
And since COVID, it's just had a supercharger and a turbocharger and nitrous strapped to it. It's going more crazy. And it's just taken a microdose. It's going wild, right? And so quick.
Yeah, you've seen it,
And
like,
so quick.
Because you hear people say like plateaus and stuff, you know, but like...
People have been saying since I started that it's going to run out. We're going to run out of customers. We've maxed out. I've been hearing that for a long time.
Well, that's in my very, very short time. It's like, that classic, you should have been here back this time, and it's plateauing out, and it's like... But yeah, like, especially with this, like... I was doing it the other day, like, you're editing this photo, or like video, and I'm like, how is this in my skill set? Like, how am I adapting this? Like, this... When I first got into the tattooing, it was like, I just want to tattoo my mates. And then you learn it's to become a business. And it's like, never in my wildest dream, and not that long ago, it was only 6 or 7 years ago, and it was like, you're going to be editing photos or videos for you to get more people in the door or giving yourself more exposure. I think that's
it's mind-blowing. I look at it as well as, like, you're still learning. And, like, how cool is it actually be able to have that skill to do it, and you actually have control of it to do it yourself. Like, it's an amazing skill.
You're not relying on any other shop or anyone else.
Tattooing is, and I think always has and will be, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. You know, like, yes, you can pay someone to do all of this stuff these days, but if you can learn to do it yourself, even better. Like, mate, look at what MJ's doing.
Oh, it's massive.
Like, you know, we've obviously known each other for a long time, and I'm a big fan, but, you know, I see you as one of the leaders of the younger generation. But what are you now? How old are you now anyway?
30.
Yeah, 30, man. Mate, amazing. Like, what you've accomplished in how many years tattooing now? 9. Mate, I probably wouldn't have even got there in 20 years of my career. You know, and because of what's available now, and it's so good and relevant. And I've said this multiple times. I'm envious of the younger generation because you guys are going to be far more productive. I was 15 years street soldier, right? Doing street shop walk-in stuff, which I loved. gave me all the crazy stories, the experiences, and made me who I am today.
Yeah.
But from an artistic point of view, I'm kind of envious of, you know, you're definitely not envious of fucking the 15,000 frangipanis and dolphins I did on people and lower back tats and tribal armbands.
Yeah.
But I'm envious of looking at you guys as a 30-year-old tattooer now that going like, imagine what the body of work you're going to have by the time you're 60. You know, and I'm excited not only for you, but for the industry in general.
I agree in that sense. But then I also think sort of in terms of where you're applying your time and your effort, when you're on the come up, there was no social media and stuff. And now that's become such a part of the job where now we have to be, you know, tattooers, content creators, video editors, all this sort of stuff, because that's all becoming part of the job now. Whereas it's like, so now a lot of the time that a lot of people would spend painting, it sounds like I'm making excuses. People are still doing this. A lot of the time that you sort of invest into painting and doing flash and all that sort of stuff, it's like, oh fuck, now I've got to make, you know, 3 TikToks and all that sort of stuff. But that's the way it's going. But it's about time management at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's the
while
thing.
you do it.
For sure, but also in our industry, there's really no role models that are teaching us how to do this.
Yeah.
You might have a friend or someone in your studio that you can ask, or you might mimic someone. Hey, what do you do? Yeah.
I do that to Forrest all the time. Like, we talk about it like ripping each other off or like just sharing ideas. Like, and it's like, I got no idea. Like, with a lot of stuff, with even like design or, and like photography or anything like that. And I always pick Forrest's brain.
Yeah.
Well,
that's also because that's the quest to get better.
Yeah.
Like where some people will just go.
But I see it as like, if Benny asked me something about, you know...
you're not threatened by him.
No, but also, like, if Benny's doing well, the shop's doing well. And if the shop's doing well, we're all doing well.
And if everyone's doing well, tattooing's doing well.
Yeah, the rising tide lifts all ships, you know? So it's like, why would I want to keep shit to myself when he could utilize it, benefits the shop, and then boosts the shop's profile, and then we all benefit from that, you know? So it's just like that Cerberus. It's just like a snake eating its own tail. Yeah, it's
we
like
said it the whole time. That's an idea of ours, and it's not even. We've taken it from like the sip night thing, you know.
Those shit cork and canvas
cork and canvas.
Oh, is this the Corpus Paint Club?
Corpus Paint Club.
Yeah, amazing. So we were talking about that off camera.
Yeah.
And you've got an amazing outlook on it. Yeah. You know, you were saying that you'd been contacted by other tattooers, other shops. Like, I even said to you, hey man, do you want to come up here and do it?
Yeah.
And then you just went, mate. You can do it. We don't own it.
Yeah,
we got the space for it.
Who does
true.
I had people
entry fee.
Like we do. Like
we do. Sweet.
Yeah. So
$60
people pay $60. We provide the paper, the brushes, the ink. We provide everything.
Awesome.
And they rock up and they're painting on Arches paper. They've got nice brushes. We're using Winsor Newton ink. All that sort of stuff. Benny and I have
spent. What's the time frame?
It normally takes about 2 hours.
Yeah. We initially it was 3, like, well, all right, and
Two's
then both,
better.
but we've done 2 now. And,
but everyone hangs out for an hour afterwards.
Yeah, and that 2 hour mark's perfect.
Yeah, there's booze.
Nice. Yeah, there's a little bit of booze, like people, because people are nervous.
Yeah.
And like, people are like,
I imagine
got this crazy expectation too on themselves.
I might like, you're gonna tell me, but is it tattooers? Is it apprentices? Is it wannabe apprentices?
Nope.
Is it people outside the industry? Is it soccer mums?
It's a lot of couples. Wanting just something different for a date night.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Huge date night.
And they're tat heads to a degree. It's like
one of them will get tattooed at the shop and they bring their girlfriend along because their girlfriend likes arts and crafts and wants to do something.
And from that, what we found, which is quite cool, is like, the partner's going, oh, I'm going to get tattooed by Forrest, you know.
Yeah.
Who's this Forrest person? Who's this Corpus tattoo shop?
It's maybe like a safe way of checking it out.
But yeah, that's it. So now it's like, oh yeah, like you getting that tattoo from Forrest again? Like, oh, sick. I was like, I know the space, you know. So
our classes, we can fit 15 people.
Yep.
The last one we did, we sort of changed the layout, so it was sort of like 2 classes running at the same time, and then Benny and I would swap over.
Yep.
So we could sort of like get to know everyone and stuff. Out of the 15 people, 1 person was an existing customer. 13 completely new people coming to Corpus for the first ever time to do just a paint night.
And just
Amazing.
ended there's two blokes there, and they were just like never they're into tattoo art and never picked up a paintbrush before, but they don't want to go to this paint sip cork night. No shit on them, but they don't want to paint a banana.
Well, they're not on a hen's party.
Yeah, they don't want to paint a banana. They want to paint an eagle.
They want to paint a banana and two apples.
Real suggestive.
With an eagle on top. Yeah. But that was so it's like the you're taking the imagery and still giving it to that person whether you're tattooing it on them or not, but they love it equally.
Was there a bit of classroom support and camaraderie?
Absolutely.
Yeah, people get along. Yeah,
everyone's helping each other out. Everyone's just hyping each other up. And at the end of it, because I think the difference is if someone just wants to try and learn to paint at home, they'll fuck it up straight away, and then they'll get demoralized and they'll just bin it.
Yep.
Whereas through the class, it's the class ends when we say it ends.
Yep.
Everyone has to go through to completion, and they finish the painting, and whether they think it's good or not, everyone's proud of themselves for finishing it. And then so at the end of it, everyone gets to take home the painting, they get to take home the brushes, all this stuff. We have a little cheat sheet which sort of tells them, these are good brands of inks at different price points. These are good brands of paper.
And work out what works best for you.
All that sort of stuff.
Experiment.
But then we also give them a second line drawing of the same thing so they can paint it again at home if they want. If they want a second run
colour
at it.
to it.
They've done it.
They go out and buy that red at the art shop. And we did that with a local business too.
We went to the art shop and we got a $10 voucher for everyone in the class.
Yep.
And they're this is the art shop we go to. Yep. They have everything that in this class you can buy it at that art shop. Yep. So then it sends them to the local business where they're going to spend more than $10. They'll probably spend $90 on stuff.
And these boys are good at that. Since I've lived, since I lived at Corpus, I guess
feels like
you do live there.
Since I've lived at Corpus, especially Stubbs and Forrest, it's that collaboration stuff with local businesses, you know, there's things in the works. They've done Nico's, which is a sandwich shop, doing merch with the sandwich shop. Yeah. It's I don't know, tattooing to a community, so we should be in the community more. Yeah. So things, small little collabs where people can join up and do that sort of stuff. I love that stuff, and these boys do it real well.
I see it as brand alignment. Yeah. So Nico's really popped off as the sandwich spot in Melbourne. It was huge. They sort of expanded. They got three spots now in Melbourne. It was going viral. Just good shit. So they were opening a Brunswick store. So we're I knew the guy that managed the Fitzroy one from Wagga. He's from Wagga. So I was if we align ourselves with that, it's good quality sandwiches, all their branding, everything they do, their customer service, everything is on point. If we're connected with their brand in some way via a collaboration, then it shows that we care about quality. Yep. It shows that we care about customer service and all that sort of thing. And our brands are associated in a way where it's Corpus, that's the one that did the thing with Nico's. I love Nico's. If I love Nico's, I'll probably love Corpus. So it's just that sort of stuff. It's what the fuck does sandwiches and tattoos have in common? Nothing. But when you think about it, it's about
nothing and everything.
Nothing and everything. It's about the quality. It's about all this sort of stuff. And it's a local business. It's that cross-pollination between, they might get people that have never heard of Nico's go there because they found them through us and vice versa. So it's the coolest. You can make a t-shirt for fucking any business. Yeah. You can use your art, promotes yourself, promotes your business, and helps them out. Everybody wins.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. I haven't been around it enough, but then working with you guys, it's a good way of doing it. It's just, I don't know, it's just being a part of the community.
And I think after all of the crazy last couple of years, community is...
Well, that's who's coming in.
Everything and nothing as well.
Yeah.
But it is a good thing. We have a tattoo community. But, as tattooers, we probably essentially think our community is just other tattooers.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
If it's not for the broader community, which is clients, we're fucking no one.
No one, yeah.
So, if you can expand that.
Well, that's another thing with the paint club. Yeah. So there was a bit of backlash from some gatekeepy tattooers.
I can imagine.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah, it's rattling too. It's hectic.
But I'm sure you handled it well.
Well, you kill them with kindness. But at the end of the day, it's they're not paying our bills. I don't
We're
care
not,
about.
We're not giving them fucking apprenticeship.
Nah, it's not a
and if
class,
these people
man.
leave the class and they apply themselves and they build a portfolio and they go through the work and they get an apprenticeship, then they deserved it the same way that you deserved it.
And move country and do
so
it.
good on them. Yeah, and move the country to do it.
Yes.
But
Extreme.
But that's like apply us like
Extreme apprentice.
It's either you can get something off the internet and like learn it that way, and that's great if you want to do it. But some people might want to learn in person, and that's okay. Like, but they apply themselves, and 5-10 years down the track, they might be in the industry.
But we're not doing.
Who's to know in 5 years? So imagine like you just kick off someone, this is their initial spark, and then they come back to you in 6 months and go, hey, hit you up on Instagram, look what I've done.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But and it's like we don't care about the other tattooers' opinion on it because they don't pay our bills. Where it's like I think a lot of tattooers care about, and it is important building a relationship with other tattooers and building a community.
Yes.
But like
But
also
it's not the be all and end all.
you got to realize you got to build a community with the people that are coming and getting tattooed from you. So how do you do that? So that's what we're really trying to do with the Corpus Paint Club is build a community for people to feel like Corpus is inclusive. For them to feel like I can go and I'm not going to get judged and I can try something and I can learn something and I can have fun and it's like a space where I'm like, I like going there. I like Benny. I like Michael. I like whatever it is.
That's the key as well, man. Like, you know, like from when I started, when I was talking about before, there were like maybe 5 subcultures.
Yeah.
To align yourself with. Now there's probably fucking 200.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, showing you guys a shop today and everything, you've seen it before. But I was saying one of the things I'm most proud of is we're probably one of the most diverse and multicultural shops.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In Sydney,
You're talking
if
about
not
Brazilians
Australia.
and Koreans and
Indian. We got everything. We got the whole. We got the whole box and dice, man, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's good. And like, you know, I know as the studio's grown and evolved, you know, I've had some gatekeepers go, "Little Tokyo, it's not just Jap anymore." Like, does it have to be?
No.
It could be a little bit of Japanese stuff.
Yeah, it
could be a
the
little bit
essence
of everything. Could be a little bit of Harajuku. Could be a little bit of whatever. And that's okay. And as you get a bit older, you also get the confidence and comfortable with yourself. I don't need to appease you anymore.
That's it.
I want to appease myself and appease my community.
Yeah.
And that's the one.
Yeah, it's massive.
Absolutely. I think it can be pretty shattering when you get dunked on or shit on by someone that you really like, and you're like, oh man, like I've always looked up to this person and they think I'm a fuckwit, you know, like that sort of stuff, and then it's like,
you go fuck it.
Last couple of years have been good.
Worry about yourself. Yeah.
But then you know, like you see the response to what you're doing from the people that matter, and you're like,
It's
all right,
overwhelming,
cool.
isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like, but it's always the negative voices that are the loudest, and you'll fixate on that, and that's one person, but there's hundreds of people that are loving what you're doing.
It's crazy how you like focus on that shit, eh?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's the
Like
sucks.
I was with my mate,
we're all guilty of it.
Benji Tobin. He's part of this made to suit exhibition with another guy,
Is that
Dan, up on the
at
Goldie.
Temple? Yeah, it's in Corundum. That thing's epic.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
3rd of June, if anyone's watching,
Oh,
be there.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely
be
get down there.
doing something
It's a good.
as well, a bunch of other. But it is good, and like I was
all
talking
over
to
the
Benji.
Goldie too, and Brisbane.
Yeah, Brizzy. Thankfully now I live on a Goldie.
Yeah.
Maybe opening a shop there.
He is.
I've been invited too, but
Yeah.
talking to Benji, he goes, man, I never thought I'd have that much like grief. People bitching about the paper, bitching about the deadline, bitching about the price.
You can't please everyone.
Yeah, and I said, welcome to a glimpse of my world. So
Yeah, that's great.
as soon as you pop your head up
Yeah.
and try and do something good, even some of your best mates are going to fucking give you a hard time.
It's the tall poppy syndrome. And like everyone wants to cut them down.
Yeah,
You know.
I said, you just got to ignore it.
Yeah.
And just push through, man, because on the night, the same dude that's been slaughtering you for the fucking last 3 months is going to want to get his photo taken with you and pack you on the back.
It's funny
and say,
how
great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny when you like if something makes a little bit of a ripple.
Yeah.
they-
How
people
dare
go-
you?
But you must be doing something on the line where people are interested in enough, or because people are real quick to shut you down.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's a response and it's overwhelming. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
Or maybe more of us should take not just that exact idea, but something else that they might be thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick your head out. Stick your neck
And
out.
if you're doing
for
something
sure.
that other people aren't, everyone's resistant to change.
Yeah.
Whether it was social media, whether it was
third
using an
fax.
iPad, whether it was whatever it is.
An iPad,
Yeah, like everyone's resistant to change. So everyone's like quick to shit on it because they're like, that's not the done thing. We don't do that around here. That's not the way that tattooing's done. And then they start seeing it working, and then they see it take off, and then they want in on it. And then next thing you know, they're trying to like backpedal and be like, oh nah, man, I've always thought it was sick.
Oh, I'm doing that with like, I still call them dildo pens.
Totally.
I got a
Magic
dildo
dildos.
pen, brah. I was shitting on them. I was
You were
like,
shitting on dildos?
What? Yeah, yeah.
Thank God I worked in that sex shop selling dildos back in the day. I'm quite handy with them. But that's probably a good time to bring in like one of the questions that I've not even asked from the list was where do you maybe think you guys see from your generation and point of view where tattooing might be in the next 5 years? To the next, let's even then go crazy and speculate on the next 20 years when you're 30, when you're then my age. Okay. And I've retired by then, but I'm like the old dude in Mazima.
You're sitting in your throne back here. You're sitting in your throne back here, eh?
Yeah, the gold one. Yeah. 24 carat, encrusted in diamonds.
Where's tattooing going to be?
Go 5 first and then go
5 years?
Yeah.
It's a hard one for 5, I reckon.
I think the a lot of people, the way it is now, everything's instant. Netflix, Uber Eats, Amazon Prime delivery, everything's done instantly. And I think because of that, people don't like going or starting at the bottom and going through the whole process. We're already seeing that. We're already seeing people being like, apprentice, fuck apprentice. I'm just going to open a private studio and see how that pans out. I think we're going to see more private studios where it's just a person working by themselves in all over the place. I think there's going to be more of that. I think there's going to be, obviously TikTok's going to be more prevalent. Who knows if Instagram's going to be around or exist in 5 years. So I feel like the whole social media thing's going to really fucking ramp up in a different direction.
I think Instagram will turn into Facebook, like what it is now.
I think Twitter will take over.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going to Twitter?
Twitter will be the new one. That's what I think.
Yeah, of course.
You gotta remember, I'm old.
Yeah, no, I think you're like,
Big.
My, I can't.
Bong?
Bong and a blitz.
Line of
Bong and a
speed.
blitz.
Flat Jack and a cigarette.
Smoking a crack pipe.
5 is hard for me because I don't know if no, I'm still like
Because when you
figuring
think
it out now. I'm still
when you think how quickly the last 5 years has gone.
Yeah.
Right,
2020, I feel like maybe, I don't know, like depends on how fast technology's going, but like we might be like, people might be testing out the old, I can get an infinity symbol by a mechanical hand. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I'll give my 5
Maybe
year,
they might be a little bit long, like maybe a bit further down. But
My 5 year prediction will be the next year or so with the economy might weed some things out. Hopefully it'll make people refocus.
Yeah.
The economy will boom again. In 5 years' time, it's going to be booming. So if you're established, you'll definitely be established in what you're doing. But I also believe that people will be seeking out individual artists more than a studio, just because of individual artists' online reputation.
Yeah, that's
the metaverse might start to be coming into something they thought it would be.
Yeah.
Gaming is going to be huger. The younger generation that's 18 now might be 23, or those 23-year-olds will be 28. They'll be in that point to be getting different tattoos. There might be some regulation if you look at what's happening in America come into it.
As in like health stuff or
health stuff,
like what,
maybe
like
not even that, even equipment stuff. Like in America, they're looking at it to everything will have to pass an FDA approval. So it might be a bit more rigorously controlled, or
it's not a bad.
like young tattooers now will just have one machine. So it might go down that way. And then I think whoever's in it now, hopefully you, all of us here in this room, are going to be ready for the boom in the economy. It will definitely be people will either be doing collective studios or smaller studios. I think as well people will be, for example, there's a guy in the States that's doing, he's tattooing, but he's also teaching people about accountancy and how to run a business, how to educate people on things,
true, actually.
how to educate you to not be a fucking have nothing at 50, but you've got these battle stories that when you're 50, no one wants to fucking listen to anyway.
5 years ago, people would have been like, fuck that guy for giving out all these secrets on just how to manage a business.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like, if you don't know how to do it, you don't belong, and all that sort of stuff. So the fact that someone's just being so transparent about
clicked on that.
how to, you know, exist and how to, you know, not get fucked over and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that would have been such a closely guarded secret.
Yeah.
And this guy's out, and it's helping so many people by just having that transparency.
Yeah, I found someone on the internet that like he was like, oh, if you need a tax like cheat sheet, you know, let me know. And then he's been chewing like I've been slack on like talking to him to a point, but you know, I think he's in Europe or the States, and he's just messaging me like what's your goals and what's your like financial
100%.
things and stuff, and it's like whoa, like I've never had someone in the industry.
Yeah, well, we got no role models. You know, we're talking about it on
it's
camera
put your cash in a shoebox and hope for the best.
Buy a Harley, buy a Monaro. If you're killing it, you're the Don.
You know, get that watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think definitely things like that will come into it more. There'll be more, like, you can already see people are jumping around with these peripheral online masterclasses, education platforms that might step it up. Whether it's the accountancy guy, there might even be like mentoring, like Steph Bastain's doing, where he does this thing.
That's true. Yeah.
I just started this morning with a business coach. You know, like $500 a week.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot of money, but it's money well spent. And because I don't have anyone in my skill, I got mates that have got successful businesses, but not tattooing.
It's not applicable.
It's not applicable to this.
Yeah.
It's such a different world, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you try and talk to someone that is like maybe educated, but they have not an inkling of an idea of
They
what
don't
your world is.
understand the nuances of working with artistic, creative people.
Yeah. They're more worried about what they're going to get on their arm
KPIs.
next.
What the fuck's a KPI? What's an ROI?
Yeah.
Mate, talk to someone else. You've already alienated me. So there'll be people moving into the space that talk on our level, you know.
Yeah.
But then fast forward, I'll carry on. The 20 year, when I'm 70, fuck man, I'll go back quickly. The 5 years, there's probably going to be people being a PT, being a fucking life coach, being, you know, there's already tattooers that are doing Reiki healing and spiritual realignment. Power to you.
Yeah.
We're in the age of the life coach and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll happen. There'll be part-time tattooers, but at a high level. You could be a graphic designer as well. You could move into a side hustle of you could probably work 3 days a week tattooing and then build an online side business of content creation, education for people, all this sort of stuff. Branding, and get paid equally as well as tattooing.
Well, that is something that I thought about and I forgot until you just sort of mentioned it.
I'll be one of your clients.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm not cheap.
I know that, but you are easy.
but like it's totally the thing where I feel like previous generations within tattooing, they get to that age of retirement and they get to the point where their body's fucked, their eyes are fucked, and they can't do it to a standard anymore, and they've got no backup plan. And sort of like a lot of those guys were like, well, I'll own a shop, people can work for me, and then that's my retirement. So I feel like this generation and going forward, a lot of the people, it's like, how do I diversify my sort of like my output? So tattoos, but I can't tattoo forever. Tattoo has a shelf life. So it's like, I can only do that until I, you know, in my early 60s for a lot of people. That tends to be
if you're top level. Like I said to you guys today, like my yardsticks are Pommy Paul and Trevor McStay.
Yeah, they're giants and that.
5 to 6 years ahead of me, 13 years ahead of me, sort of thing. You know, and that's here.
And
there's plenty of other people that won't even make that.
And it's like, so all right, I want to stay in tattooing. What else can I offer tattooing that's not just tattoos, other than owning a shop or getting into like tattoo supplies or whatever? Now that social media is such a thing, or like that guy that's like a business coach and all that sort of stuff, there's so many different things now that you can still be in tattooing and sort of that can be your other thing. So you and gradually sort of phase out tattooing as you sort of get into that retirement thing. But you can still do this shit. You can do that all day. Like whatever the other outlet is.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I still want to own a shop and like build machines or something.
Sick. That's sick. But now it's not the only option you have.
To do,
for those guys, it was like the only option they had.
Yeah, that's
Russ Abbott probably brought it up just recently.
Totally.
And that's the one that's been gone viral. That thing we put it in our group chat.
Yep.
And I can see some people are rattled by it.
Yeah.
Literally rattled by it. Like, I actually never thought about that.
Okay.
I never thought, who the fuck's going to get tattooed by me when I'm 60?
Yeah. You mean I have to think about doing something else other than tattooing and put the work in now so by the time I get to that, it's established?
Unfortunately, you do.
Yeah.
You do. You're not the chosen one.
Right, yeah.
You know.
Who is, but
like this is every career.
Yeah.
Like my parents' generation had the job for life.
Yeah.
Not now.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty crazy to think about, actually.
Should we pause for a quick tequila and an ad break?
Sounds good.
I'd just like to say this podcast has been sponsored by Nico's Sandwich Bar and also Blue Chew. I'm sure most of you middle-aged tattooers will be familiar with that. If not, DM me and I'll give you the discount code.
Can you DM me? Can you slide into my DMs?
But yeah, 20 years, it's crazy to think where it could be. If I look back, I've been tattooing 33 years. If I was to say then...
33?
Yeah, if I was someone to say to me, even 10 years ago, I would have a shop like this and be running different things in it, and at this stage in my career, I'd be like, dude, you've just fucking double dosed on acid.
and forward thinking on...
No way this is even possible.
Yeah.
So I think, for me, a loose guess is it's going to be fucking... I don't know, like definitely there'll be collectives, but there'll be solo things. There could be in a shopping centre where you fucking put your arm in and get your kids' names or whatever.
While you get your bread and your milk.
And that's going to be Westfields, and that's okay. But there'll also be highly conceptual, fucking crazy thinking of people, I believe, planning out bodies from the start. And that will be like maybe they're...
The projection of it and then going out and doing it.
And they're becoming, because they're then got the confidence from their online persona of their avatar to actually be it themselves. Because even now it's only quite rare super heavily tattooed people have got the balls to get a full face tattoo or get this.
It used to be that
it
used to be that a sleeve was extreme, and then a bodysuit was extreme, and
hand was extreme.
Now eyeballs are the new extreme.
Yeah. But even then, it's going to be, we're going to move into an era where there's probably going to be the Neuralink, all this sort of stuff. You can always get fucking breast implants, butt implants, calf implants, dick implants, all this sort of stuff.
Oh, thank fuck for dick implants.
Yeah, I know. We'll edit this. Thank God we got that 2-for-1 package. We got those coupons from Woolworths.
The old dick swap.
Good old Dr. Jeffrey Edelson.
I was thinking.
Goes hand in hand with a face off.
I was watching a TED talk, and there was a guy that was like a nanoscientist.
Yep.
And he was talking about, so basically like have these little like nanodes or whatever, the size of the pigments in ink.
Yep.
And basically they're clear or whatever, but they react to certain things. Yep. So he tattooed himself with these nanodes that react to heat, and over a certain temperature they turn red or whatever. So he tattooed like a line. So basically it was like, if you're getting a fever and your core temperature has reached over a certain thing, you get a red line show up, and you're like, oh no, my temperature is over this.
Yeah.
There's another thing where it's like for UV exposure, so he'd have a blue dot. So basically, once that he's at the beach, whatever, once that blue dot shows up, time to reapply sunscreen.
Well,
I got my head in on tattoo flash.
No, but the medical use is going to be expanded.
So that's why I'm thinking. It's in 20 years, maybe there's going to be practical uses for tattoos as opposed to just decorative uses.
My greyhound's got a tattoo.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's a thing. Like vets tattoo.
It's like,
cats and dogs ears.
And like anesthetics are already on the rise. By then, it might be normal and cost effective to go and be sedated.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that clip that went viral recently. And
We're in the business of changing appearance, so
and
yeah,
of course,
and full throttling it.
you know, we can change everything at the moment.
Yeah.
So who knows where it's going to go? But you know, now we're just on the cusp of what we term acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in 20 years, you know, there might be a little bit of pushback to all of these different lifestyles. But by the time that generation has matured, this young generation has matured, there's going to be no pushback. It's going to be whatever. So you can curate yourself as you want to be and live loud and live proud as this curated package. As we're on the early stages of doing it right now with an avatar of yourself.
It's
like
pretty nuts, I think, actually.
I've got land in the metaverse. Like, I'm a fucking 50-year-old bogan. I don't understand it, but I'm trying. And I had so, mate.
Hey, Reza!
That's so good.
What does your dick say?
What does your dick say? Go on.
Sit here.
Oh, fuck, man. Yeah. Just sit there.
Thank God I never got a Superman like I want it. We both know someone's got that one. The shame.
Yeah. Shame on you. Yeah.
He is a Superman.
Wow. Backed himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so things like that, and I got sidetracked and flustered all that.
Land in the metaverse, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, but all that sort of stuff. So we're on the cusp now, and COVID was a prime thing where people stayed inside.
Yeah.
And I got told the easiest way of someone of my generation to understand the metaverse is to watch the movie Ready Player One. Any of you guys seen it?
Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it and I just went, I get it. I totally see where this is going.
Yeah.
Because it's escapism.
Yeah.
And it is a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be things, it'll probably kick off in parts of the world with the lower socio-economic frames.
How could you leave this
First
far?
of all. Well, wait, this,
How could you leave this?
But you know what? This could be my metaverse.
Yeah,
Look at
that
Black
is-
Mirror.
yeah.
Black Mirror's also got segues into what the future could be with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy, yeah.
So with all of that, you've got your metaverse. You know, you could look like me, but my avatar could be King Kong.
Yeah.
You know, and I can then go out and like we look at the Lizard Man and go, what a fucking freak, or the Jigsaw Man, what a fucking freak.
You got the balls.
You
to
know,
go down
but good on you, man.
Yeah.
Like, but then it comes back to the thing: who am I to judge you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think society is going to be so advanced in 20 years from that way of thinking. In some areas, it's still going to be still incredibly behind.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to have a lot of groundbreaking people doing it. Like if you look at the Euros, doing all the crazy fucking tribal, geometric, ornamental work.
Yeah,
Those
right.
people for me are on the cusp of breaking new ground.
Yeah.
Like Black Prada, Black Pandemic, Instagram pages, all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Curating the body, like beautiful,
That
phenomenal
body
stuff.
stuff's crazy.
It's technically one tattoo.
And you can't even comprehend
exactly,
like,
and
applying
that's
it,
where
yeah.
it's almost going back to being that tribal impact of your but you're building your own clan, your
like
own
a
tribal
Tamil
warrior.
or a,
So that's my crazy prediction. Now it's your turn.
I kind of think as time goes on, tattoos are getting less and less permanent.
Yep.
So I feel like in
20s, 30s, 40s.
they're gonna be
or
even less
Get it
permanent.
blasted.
So it used to be you get a tattoo that's on you for fucking life.
Yeah.
And then it came, oh, you can cover it up if you don't like it.
Do
And
you
then it
remember
became
the
you can
2-year ink, the 5-year ink, all that
right.
stuff.
So that stuff, I think that's like just coming out now, and I think they're realizing, oh, this shit doesn't work. There's like lawsuits and stuff like that because it hasn't fucking come off like they thought it would. But it shows that there's a market, and that's where people are wanting it to go. So if there's like inkling that that's where people want it to go, they're going to put more time and effort in like investing their time into creating that. So I think that like in 20 years, I wouldn't be surprised if there are like truly temporary tattoos that last a month.
Yeah.
and
Well,
stuff like
I
that.
heard.
well, like we're still applying it like we're normally applying it.
Yeah,
and
but
then
the
somehow,
ink.
Imagine,
just comes out of your liver or something.
Yeah,
Kidney
imagine
or
not
whatever.
a month. Like I heard years ago, there was a company trying to develop something back to that nanotechnology where you've got a pigment encased or within or encrusted, whatever the technical terminology
Encrusted?
is. Encrusted. With like spike protein on the end of it, right?
But like,
where it could, imagine you could get tattooed, right? It'll probably start off, this is my prediction,
Right.
with black and grey.
Yeah.
Right? One colour you've got to work out.
Yeah.
I can invest this money in this pigment. I can do a sleeve on you in your 20s. You don't like it by the time you're 30. With the advancement of laser technology, one laser treatment, this arm is gone.
But is that good or bad?
That's not for us to judge.
Yeah, yeah,
But
I get that.
if you, okay,
yeah,
let's flip it.
yeah,
If you've given Michael a great experience in his 20s and he's connected to you,
yeah,
he wants to get rid of it,
yeah.
probably going to come back to you.
I guess so. Yeah,
it's maybe repeat
my
business.
thought. Yeah, you're right. Because
And-
my
and
thought
as
was
you-
like, because it's like 10 years time. You think you'd be a
What-
tattooer? Because at the time,
to us, it's not. Like, I
Yeah.
like the fact, look at my arms. My
yeah,
arms
they're
are
great
fucked.
though.
Yeah,
No,
they are. They're great
They
to
look
you.
good. Yeah,
I think your arms are great to me.
Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of tattooers now that are not my generation, you've got perfectly curated bodysuits.
But I
right?
like that though. Too. I like
Exactly.
the life lesson. Like you haven't planned that out. You're
Yeah,
getting it when
so
you're getting it.
when
It's spur in the moment.
When it comes to the like non-permanence of tattoos, like when you think about it, people dye their hair every week a different color.
Yeah.
People are spending more money on outfits than they are on
But, like,
tattoos.
I don't think they're never going to not get tattooed again.
Yeah,
They're
they're not
just
gonna get tattooed.
If
different
anything, they're
stuff.
going to get tattooed
all right.
like regularly,
Yeah.
something different, because it's like, cool, I'm into this now, I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
Where it's going to become less about like a personal statement or like exuding your personality through your personal appearance.
Yeah.
But it's going to become more fashion statement.
All right.
Yep.
So I feel like tattoos are going to
For sure.
transition more into fashion.
But all right, so I'm sitting there and you come in the door, and I put my heart, sweat and tears into it, and you want this fucking cool trad sleeve or Japanese sleeve or black and grey, and I do the best job I can at that point in time. I get in the sense of like maybe in 10, 15 years time it could be better, but it's like, what's the lifespan of a tattoo and when you're putting all that effort into it?
Yeah.
And then some prick just goes after 5 years or 3 years goes, I don't want it.
Yeah, but I'm going to
Is that gonna wipe them out on the other side?
Okay, but then I'm
Tattooers out on the
going
other
to
side?
say to you then like that,
Yeah.
like, by the way you're talking, I'm
Yeah.
assuming that you're going to be friends with this guy in 15 years.
Yeah,
You
I
may
like to
not
think
be.
so, but
But
I might
he's
not
friends
be.
with everyone.
But you know, I know you are. But online, of course.
Walking Labrador.
But you may not see this person ever again.
Yeah.
And this is where us
Yeah,
as
true.
artists are going to have to free up and let go of our egos.
Yeah. I
You
get
did
that.
the best you could do on
At
the
that
day
time.
at that time.
Yeah, I guess that's very true.
And,
yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
okay. But
Yeah.
also, I'm just going to like, on a little quick tangent,
Yeah.
I see in the next 5 years, back to that one, AI, and we've already seen it here multiple times, especially with black and grey and realism. Right?
Yeah.
People come in, I want a fox jumping over a log on a creek with some pine trees and a mountain in the background and a moon.
Yeah.
I've got five
Sweet as.
versions to the artist. There's going to be technicians,
Yeah.
which is, let's be realistic, a lot of realism tattooers these days.
Yeah.
I know I'm smirking and you're going to think I'm a cunt, but that's true.
It's just-
You're a photocopier and I'm
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm amazed at the skill level.
Yeah, it is nuts though. The application is nuts.
The application is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
If you can
we've
make it
even then
quicker
had
than you can.
emails of people giving in suggestions and saying very respectfully, I want the artist to put their own thing on it. So there's going to then be a divide. The people are going to have more control over what they want put on their body. So that might be the divide
And
of,
if you got your hands different and your
of technician
style,
or you put your arm in the machine at Westfields to the artist and the experience.
Yeah.
Because not everyone is open to the experience
Yeah. True.
that we enjoy.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and we have to respect that.
That's it's a
So,
cool way of thinking, eh?
that's
It's like
another way
there's
where
a
it
it's
could
a
go.
there's a bracket and there's a division of everything. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. People want that Westfield shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
People want that.
Yeah.
People want the real life thing, or people want a
and
robot to do
that's-
it.
And that, you know, like attracts like. So, but yeah, to the 21, it's crazy. But I think that ink thing could be phenomenal. And whoever comes up with the patent of that ink, and a bottle of ink's going to go from
$15, $20, $40.
And
To
when,
$1,000.
when you think about it, that even though it may not last as long, based on the materials itself, may be more expensive and it may be more lucrative for the people
Yeah.
that are doing that.
yeah. Yeah. You got to pay.
Mind
You
blown.
got to pay. You got to pay for the exit strategy.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about the
Totally.
next tat.
It's like you're gonna save
And
money on
see,
laser.
I can see. I'm shattered by it as well. It destroys me to think about
me
it.
instantly. I was like,
But I have to. We're projecting.
But
20 years ahead.
this is also, this isn't to say that tattooing as it is going to be extinct. It
No
will.
way.
It's been around for
Forever.
centuries.
Yeah.
It's going to stay. There'll just be another avenue for the people that are into it. So
Yeah.
if anything, it's just going off on tangents. It's a fork in the road.
Yeah.
People can go down this way, or they can keep the permanent tattoos.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
tattooing as it is isn't going anywhere.
Regardless,
It hasn't gone
it's
anywhere
exciting.
ever.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be, like fucking. There used to be like just tribal tattoos. Then there was like
Panties on
traditional
forearms.
tattoos, Japanese tattoos. Then there became watercolor tattoos. There became fine line tattoos.
Yep.
There's always new versions
Yep.
of tattoos that come out. So when you
And-
look at it, it's
and-
just another style or another genre of tattooing that
Yeah.
emerges through time.
Sounds
Like everything
sounds
else
like
does.
music.
Yeah,
for sure.
totally.
I can't explain what I'm listening to nowadays in the sense of genre. With music. So it's like,
You
is
just
that what's
listen to the same three Pat Benatar songs on repeat every time. Love is a Battlefield every morning.
Just going through a breakup.
Truth be told, I've just been listening to a lot of Pat Benatar.
Have you been listening to that?
So much.
Have you been listening to that?
Who sings that song? I got a lover with a slow hand. That's the one I thought you should play on these slow-mo things that you've been.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
want a lover
Yeah.
with an easy.
Yeah, I think like
There'll be definitely way more celebrity tattoos in 5 years, if not more, 20 years.
because there's more celebrities, there's more
exactly.
influencers,
Oh,
there's more
true.
YouTubers, there's
No, you're
TikTokers.
The
right.
celebrity
Yeah,
holding
think
has been
about it,
cracked
yeah.
wide the fuck open.
Yeah.
you
It
know.
used to be,
Yeah, like-
you could name 5 movie stars, 5 rock stars. Now
Yeah,
everyone has 6 million followers on TikTok or whatever.
yeah.
So it's
Well,
like
there's
this.
18 million in this room.
All right.
I got
Oh, let's roll with that.
100.
Well, on your OnlyFans.
Yeah. That's all I need, man.
But maybe that's already starting as well. You can see certain tattooers are doing this behind the scenes thing, and that might be something as well.
So our
I think
like-
the thread of the story and the moral of the story, from my point of view, is be open to change and progression.
Yeah,
Totally.
that's it. Well, we've been rambling. Yeah, 100%.
Do you know something crazy?
You got
though?
to. You got
This
to.
like this Corvus Paint Club thing
Yeah.
that we've been doing. It's started during lockdown where I was doing like just had something to do for people that were bored in their house.
That was massive for them,
doing
yeah.
drawing classes on Zoom.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, how do I, because I'm in lockdown, I need to make money too. How do I monetize this? I wanted to start an OnlyFans and then have people subscribe to my OnlyFans. And then I'd have pre-recorded walkthrough tutorials on how to draw a rose or whatever.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. I'm like, subscribe to my OnlyFans.
It's pretty smart.
I applied to OnlyFans.
Did you?
I had to provide my driver's license, all sorts of stuff to be a creator, and I got rejected. They took one look at me and they're like, nah.
I've done that on Tinder, though. When you put all your shit on Tinder.
Yep.
As an advertisement. But what I didn't do is because I didn't put my face on it. I just put my work on
Yeah.
it. And then they go, all right, we'll be back in 24 hours with like a verification, which is fair enough. Like you get so much crazy shit on the internet now with people being fake. And then like I woke up one morning, I was like, oh cool, I'm completely banned from Tinder. But like, I know it's a fucking but you know what I mean. There's that round with OnlyFans. Yeah, it's like I don't know, like you could.
I think some of the
that.
stats are before the pandemic came along, OnlyFans had 70,000 content creators. Afterwards, it's in the millions now.
Yeah.
In a short period of time.
Yeah.
So
Good on them too.
Yeah, there's all that. It's people taking control of their lives.
Life, yeah.
So
And their
back to that,
financial-
in the 5 and the 20-year period, there's going to be way more of that. And who knows? But it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to being that old geriatric at the TAC convention, just seeing what it turns into.
Yeah.
Like some of the older people I know, and mass respect to them, but I don't want to end up like them because they're jilted and jaded and hating on it. And I never want to do that because it's been so amazing.
This is what I've always respected about you. It was like
massive.
years and years and years ago, the Sailor Jerry was doing something with you, and you said, you feel like you don't quite fit in with the old guys and you don't quite fit in with the young guys.
Yeah.
And that bridge between it. Yeah. And you've been tattooing 33 years and you're embracing TikTok. Yeah. You're embracing the metaverse, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of those other guys, they're flat out running a Facebook page. Yeah. So it's like, to be able to do that and to see the up and comers and see potential in people and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, oh, this is the way shit's going. Well, I better fucking learn this now. So it's like massive kudos to you, man, because that's like there is I can't name many other people doing that.
Yeah, that's massive,
well, I got to name the two people that have taught me that. If it wasn't for Lau Hardy or Trevor McStay, I wouldn't have that mindset.
Yeah,
Trev's like that as well.
I've never met Trev
in a different way. Trev's given me. Lau's the more progressive in the younger generation way. Trev's still old school, but was incredibly progressive.
Right.
And he was here, let's say a year ago. And
he was here when I was here.
Yeah, and I understand, and we had a good chat and everything, and he's my hero, right? And I understand why he hates, as a lot of old school people would hate what tattooing has turned into. Okay. And my reply is, I get it. I might be 5 or 10 years away from that, but I still have great friends. I've just made friendship with you today. That's going to go on.
It's amazing.
I've been friends with you for a long time.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of more good people out there.
And open to it, though.
Plenty of more people out there to meet. But apart from all of that, I've got amazing customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're the ones I get the most from. So it's still out there.
And they're teaching you that stuff too, isn't it?
Like Trev, I get that he's still hungry, he's still current, he's still world class. Lau is more progressive in other areas. So you merge those two people together, and some others from different industries have sort of given me that mindset.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I never wanted... Paul Braniff, my old boss, like on the Gold Coast, he's passed away, I think it's 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah,
if Paul was here today... Paul would have an iPad. Paul would have everything. He'd be using a Bishop wand. He'd be using cartridges. And they're the people...
We're going from a ballpoint pen, I heard.
Yeah.
Because when I was on the Gold here, it was like, Paul Braniff.
For sure.
Like, you want to see a portrait, and you want to see it, and then you look at it, and you see it here, and you go, that was probably most likely a ballpoint pen.
Yeah.
And you're
there was no stencil machine.
Yeah.
So... They're the guys that have helped shape me have this viewpoint and just having a love of it, and still a bit more to go in the tank. But I appreciate it. But it's strange to see where it's going to go. Yeah, all flustered and embarrassed.
Yeah, good. Show your vulnerability.
but that's a good thing too, man. You've got to be able to. You can't be, I'm a fucking sick cunt.
That's true. It's that
much. Well, the way that social media is, everyone's portraying themselves the way they want to be seen.
Yeah, but that's not real.
It's not real.
Some it's real, but the majority it isn't.
So it's not real, and then people can't help. It's natural to want to compare yourself.
That's why you're putting Panthers on people's forearms now.
100%. But it's like unreal.
There's a prize.
Macho Town, baby.
It's unrealistic expectations that are being put out there by people that are curating the way that they are portrayed to everyone else.
Social media and the whole.
But when you're working with people, that's the great thing about working with other people.
Yeah.
Is you're seeing what it's really like and what they're going through and where they're at and all that sort of stuff, and you're like, all right, cool. We're all in the same boat. It's like all these people that are like 7 million followers on Instagram or whatever, and they're they got no tattoos next week. Shit like that. And it's like, but they're posting themselves, they're hype beasts, they're trying to look a certain way. And it's like, why not just try to be as authentic as possible? And it's like, look, I got time tomorrow.
We know that's the insecurities or whatever, and a good thing of getting kind of to where I am in life, I'm comfortable with myself. And I'm happy with myself. I think your generation is going to get there sooner than my generation has or will.
Yeah.
And then the generation younger will get there as well.
Yeah.
So all in all, I think tattooing's still in a good place. There'll definitely be the technician, the fashion side of it, the multi-diversification of it.
Forks,
But there will still be the incredibly creative and groundbreaking and pushing side of it. Like, apart from Ready Player One, have you seen that movie Elysium? Well, there's this
Matt Damon?
There's this other world up here that they're living in, this crazy thing because they have to escape Earth. and then you've got like Bordertown, Mad Max 3 style down here.
Hang on, I'm gonna write these down.
And they're trying to like get people up there because they can get this medical treatment to save them. And I watched it, and I was like, where would you rather be? Oh, I'd be up there. Fuck that. I'd be down here.
Yeah.
I'd be in the Bordertown tattooing renegades and psychos and all the rest of it and freedom fighters.
Yeah.
And they'll be looking after you too.
And that'll be maybe that could be where society goes. There'll definitely be another pandemic in the next 20 years.
Well, that's I reckon.
You know, and it's going to be, what are you going to do then?
Yeah.
Because you won't be able to do what you did the last time. You're going to have to adapt pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's so true in a different
Well,
position.
like back to what we were
From the last
saying
one.
earlier about community and stuff. One of the greatest things I saw in the pandemic, in sense of community within tattooing, was Killer Merch, the screen printing business in Melbourne. And what they were doing, they started a thing called Killer Collective.
Yeah.
And like they did it just to help out the people that have supported them for so long.
Yeah.
And they were like, tattooers, submit your designs, whatever t-shirt or hoodie or whatever you want to do, and we'll print them, and people order them from our website, and we'll send them out, and all profits made go to you, and they're doing everything at cost price. They're not doing it to make a profit.
They've got clients for life.
Dude, I've been getting stuff printed by them since 2013.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not going anywhere. You know, so
and
it's like
I heard some of your imagery is as high vis as it gets.
it's quite visible. Some would say on the convention scene, it's quite visible.
It's up there, mate.
But it planted something in my head. What I think me and Todd should do the same thing. It's going to be a conversation tomorrow.
High vis that shit up.
Yeah. I spoke to a
That thing
guy.
there, that poster.
Yeah.
Bro, put that on.
100%.
That thing's that cool.
Yeah. Thank you. I spoke.
like, I don't
Rob
know, I
Sloan
forgot
did
who-
that,
Rob
by the
Sloan.
way.
Yeah, okay. That thing is cool as shit.
But I spoke to an old crim a while ago, and he said to me, he goes, I learnt a lot of stuff from the cops when I was doing what I was doing. He goes, because I studied it and I worked what they were doing because I didn't want to get caught. And he goes, there's a reason why a couple of times a day they flood the area with cop cars. It's high visibility. Makes the community feel safe.
Okay.
Makes the community think they're doing their job.
Yeah.
So, and then he was relating it to me in another area of like, even if you're posting a couple of times a week, you're kidding yourself. You should be posting daily. Don't worry about all this other stuff because it's out there.
Yeah.
And from there, flooding the streets, it makes people feel safe.
Yeah.
You know, by you flooding it with your stuff,
I know where to
right
go.
or wrong, who knows? You're gonna get some people.
Yeah.
You know, and it was interesting.
It's in the back of your mind, eh?
Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
And us as I don't want to post too much. I don't want to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But once you let the ego go, who cares, man?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Who's going to judge? The only people who are going to judge us are probably our peers, but they're not paying our bills.
Yeah.
And where's the judgment
And they're
coming
closest
from?
to you, yeah.
Insecurity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our own and theirs.
Yeah. I think like the general public have this idea of tattooers that, well, they're really cool, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then once you're in tattooing, you realize that like tattooers are either like nerds or deeply insecure people
Introverts.
that are attention whores or whatever, you know,
like
where we
things,
like everyone just
Yeah.
wants approval.
Yeah.
You know,
My
and-
generation to meet a tattooer was definitely like meeting a unicorn.
Yes.
You know, but now it's not. Everyone knows one.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
first moved to Sydney, I got told you'll be a local when you got a personal trainer and you got a gay friend.
Yes.
Within a week, I had both.
Yeah,
So
okay.
now let's add to it. You know, a DJ and a tattooer and a barista.
Yeah, that's it.
And in Brunswick, unicorns.
Yeah. Well, we've got a unicorn hotel here in Surrey Hills.
Yeah.
Take me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's strange how far it's come,
yeah.
but also how very little has changed at the same time.
Yeah. I think we're on in the next maybe 10 years, the gatekeepers will change and it'll go. And, you know, like we were talking before, like 10, 12 years ago, I thought I could never own a shop in Sydney because of the biker dominance.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I would never sell my soul to own one.
And then look at it.
And now look at how this has
fucking
evolved.
insane.
So it is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? So anything is possible. Right? So, yeah, who the fuck knows where it's going to go? but it's going to be in a good place.
That's the best thing about it.
You know, conventions will probably be in the metaverse. There's going to be these online things. I know you guys have got to get a plane, but before we wrap it up, just give us a quick little rundown, because I know Corpus has recently moved studio. Give us a quick rundown on Corpus, because I know Steve was one of the original pioneers with Brian.
Yes.
And then how it's evolved to where it is today.
Yeah, so it's coming up 16 years.
Yeah.
Where it started off with Brian Graydon and Steve Cross.
Yeah.
This is technically the third location that Corpus has been. It was in Sparta Place, then it was on Tripovich Street where we both started, and then now we're further up Sydney Road. And
closer to the
so
city.
Justin Stubbs is the sole owner of Corpus now.
Justin,
and he's
Sydney boy.
He's a Sydney boy. He's from the
Shire. Cronulla boy.
He's from the Shire, and he moved down he moved down to Melbourne when he hadn't been tattooing very long, and he moved down just based on circumstance. Like his partner got a job down here. He had to move down here. He got a guest spot at Corpus, and never left, and now he owns it, and
doing a good job.
He's also one of the you and him are the same age, but
I'm
like one of the youngest people in the shop.
Yeah.
And he bought it a few years ago. It's just an absolute dynamo.
Yeah.
And to be in your early mid-20s, take over a shop that's got so much history, such a pillar in Melbourne tattooing. And then navigate it through countless lockdowns, and then the insurance hikes that all shops went through, all that sort of stuff, where he could have just been like, nah, fuck it, thrown in the towel, opened his own thing, done whatever. But I think what I love about Stubbs is the name Corpus and everything that Corpus stood for was so important to him. He's like, this can't die. If we don't buy it, Corpus will just stop. And then so it was so important to him to keep Corpus going, and the name and everything that Brian and Steve built and all that sort of stuff. And
everyone else that was in and out of there over the years.
So many good tattooers. Yeah. So and he's got that mindset of like, he knows like the lineage of it. He wants to like carry it on. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
To love tattooing and love.
Yeah. It's a beautiful space now too. It's so different to the last one.
It's very different. Stubbs has made it his own. When he first bought it and he was taking over the Tripovich one, it was like, you're continuing on what Steve and Brian built. You're continuing that. And then
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. And you also don't want to fuck with it too much. And then sort of like the insurance thing sort of forced his hand where we had to move locations. And he got to sort of like build it in his image, make Corpus his version of Corpus. And there's so many Easter eggs throughout the shop of old Corpus. The iron sign from the shop front is in the waiting area. There's like so many little things.
Some tiles from the old wash.
And when Steve came to visit it and Steve walked throughout the shop, he's like noticing all these Easter eggs where Stubbs is like,
his heart's full.
Totally.
Well,
and he's so proud of Stubbs,
that,
which is
biological image, or the
anatomy stuff,
and
keeping the vibe, that vintage medical office sort of like thing throughout. It's a dream to work there, and everyone that works there is just stoked on tats, and there's no drama. Everyone's just stoked, and,
pushing each other.
Totally, and sort of like he's also got that sort of mentality where it's like, let's lean into collaborations, let's lean into this, let's lean into social media, all that sort of stuff, and it's sort of like, I feel like a real leader in general isn't like, this is what we're doing, this is how it's done, you listen to me. A real leader gets ideas from everyone and goes with the best idea.
Well, we have shop meetings all the time. I mean, like, that's probably normal for a lot of industries, but
everyone floats ideas. Everyone floats ideas.
Give us how they shop meetings, mornings, evenings.
Yeah, we'll go for breakfast. We'll go for a shop breakfast. We'll sit down, and it's like, all right, cool. This is like, we need to do something about this. What's everyone's ideas on it?
Yep.
Everyone has to like float some ideas.
Yep.
That's a good idea. Everyone, that resonates with everyone. All right, cool. Let's work on that. And that, I feel like that's what a leader is.
Yep.
And that's what Stubbs is really good at, because he's not just like, it's my way or the highway. It's like listening to your team and
being a man manager, a man woman manager, like that. Just like
a they manager.
Yeah. It's that. Yeah, like you've got all those ideas. You bring those things into your business, and then you're distributing them out, whether it's in order or whatever. But then also like looking after that person. And that person might need a cuddle, and that person might need a hard word.
Yeah.
And then I feel like he's got that down packed.
Yeah.
And he's the same age as me, and I'm going.
He's an old soul, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm looking
Crazy.
up to him like, and I forget, and I'm like, what the hell? Like this guy's doing that, and it's like, like that person, like I said, that person might need a cuddle.
Yep.
That person might need a stern talking to, but it gets everyone going.
And
you
I
know?
imagine you guys are
Loving
behind him.
Oh,
all the
massive.
way and proud.
Yeah,
100%.
It's like, and for me, I'm like, I want to own a business like, I want to own a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
So it's like you're taking those things, and you're taking those things. So it's like, wow, like this guy's, he's doing that shit.
Yeah.
So it sounds like I touched on it a few times from my generation, maybe yours a little bit. We don't have that many role models.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's a role model.
Yeah,
Totally.
In
Massive.
your studio that will become a bigger one as he ages and matures in the industry as well.
And he's doing it by doing good tattoos.
Yeah.
And then he's doing
backing
it,
it
like,
up
looking
on
after-
every level.
And he's looking after everyone. Yeah.
But what's crazy is as well, you know, someone could take over a really iconic shop and ride the coattails of the previous owners
Into
and be
the
like,
ground.
and but be like, I'm the owner of this shop. I'm the face of the shop. All that sort of stuff. It is not even a priority for Stubbs for people to know that he owns it. He doesn't put it out.
yeah.
Like, so many people don't really know. Some people still think Steve owns it. And they've got no idea that it's Stubbs.
Yeah.
Because he's all about, no, it's not about me, it's about Corpus.
Yep.
And I love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
I think, like, I speak for everyone at the shop, like, everyone would just, like, follow him fucking into war.
Yeah, totally. Into battle. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best
yeah.
thing. That's the best thing.
Yeah, and it's like we got 6. We're about we've got a new person, Denise, starting with us in a couple of weeks as well. But by sort of like modern standards, it's a relatively small shop in terms of how many people work there, and it's like tight knit and it's diverse.
But also, diversity as well. You've got a hand poker there as well now.
Yep.
And I remember we spoke about it earlier in the piece, and
Yep.
I imagine she's taken to it like a duck to water.
Yeah,
Loves it. Sponge,
And that's the way it is. Like that's where for tattooing, for certain studios and artists, for it to go where it's going to be, you got to we're in that mindset of like
Everything is
yeah,
going.
but we're going to give it a go.
Yeah.
dude.
And then
I was
prove me wrong,
I was
please.
so resistant. I was
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
of that jaded mindset where I'm like, fucking hand poke tattoos, all that sort of stuff.
but why? Is that because it's going to impact on your image?
I don't think it was that.
what was it?
I
I
don't
don't know
know
what
what
that
my judgment was towards it, but I was
Yeah.
definitely very judgy. And
You
then
get
I was,
fed on that stuff though.
but then I was tattooing. Her name's Camilla, or Hand
Yeah.
Fracks on Instagram, and I was
Yeah.
tattooing Camilla. I was
Yeah.
tattooing her boyfriend. I met her. She's a lovely person. And then I started seeing the tattoos that she'd done just on her boyfriend. And I'm like, who did that? He's like, Camilla
Yeah.
did it. I'm like, well, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
so then it was like, oh, all right, hand poke tattoos aren't what I thought they were, and all that sort of stuff, and definitely changed my perception on it.
Yeah.
And she's getting busy too, so it's
There's a market for it.
it's not
We've
just
just
junk,
opened up here, like me and Kim, one of the Korean girls does phenomenal fine line work, and she came to me a while ago going, I really want to do cosmetic stuff. How do you feel about it? And I went, let's do it.
it's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
What
it's
can
massive.
we do? And she went,
whole
but I
different
want my
world,
own room. That's part of the reason I took this side.
Alfred Street's like that.
Yeah.
Ed, Mel.
Yeah.
She's real
And I'm
well
like,
known.
mate, you've got to do it.
Cosmetic
It ju-
artist
and it's
in the Gold
bringing
Coast, yeah.
more people to the studio that may never be here, come here before.
Wait a minute.
There's a lot of shops doing
When I was-
Great White, Sam Kane.
Yeah.
He's got Brooke
Yeah.
doing cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, it was, just when I was at Alfred Street and you just see like it's kind of funny.
Did
but,
you
like,
miss your appointment?
No, it was for my eyebrows. Yeah, no, you just see like you said, like people that would never think they'd come to a tattoo shop, and then it's like these is women, and they're like they're just sitting down,
Gold
minding
Coast
their own
finest.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they're just sitting at the front of the shop, and there's a big glass window front. If you've ever been to Alfred Street, but they've got like obviously they must have like numbing on their eyebrows.
yeah.
But they have like cling wrap across your eyebrows, and you just like. You try not to laugh, but you just sit there
Yeah.
like, what the fuck has happened?
It's crazy.
Just put those big Pradas back on.
But they're coming in, like, and Mel's so busy. Yeah, that's it. So, like, and that's a different world, isn't it? Like,
Tattooing is
especially
more
if-
diverse than it ever
And it
has
has
been,
been.
and it's only going to get more diverse.
Yeah.
Technically, it's still tattooing.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's still tattooing.
I remember they used to come in before I even knew that too. Like, even at Whiskey Lane, like,
Yeah.
can you draw some eyebrows on? And it's like,
yeah.
like I
Mate,
can
when
do
I
it with
lived
like
in London,
an
I did
11 round
so
shader
many
or
beauty
something. And,
spots.
yeah,
You know,
true.
so many. I worked on Holloway
Freckles
Road, like
and-
tattooing so many people from every community, beauty spots. Can you do it bigger, boy? Oh, wow, yeah. See,
I met
with a classic
amazing.
needle.
I met a guy. I met a guy
You
that
sure you want it
tattooed.
bigger? Yeah, sick.
I met a guy that tattooed Michael Jackson's dad in Las Vegas and tattooed the thing on his face because he was doing it with makeup and he got it tattooed and he had fucking guns on him and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Joe Jackson.
Oh, mate.
Wow.
Big Joe.
What a guy.
Yeah,
What a man.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
It is exciting, like scary but exciting with all this stuff.
Yeah.
6:55. Let's wind it up.
Yeah.
Hate to do it, but hopefully this will happen again. It's been great to see you guys here. I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
I met you today. Feel like we're old friends.
Yeah, that's it. Lovely to
Thank
meet
you.
you. Yeah, appreciate
But
it.
it's always good to talk tattoos, to talk to like-minded people.
Yeah.
You guys froth on history like I do, and I think the common thread is like we've spoke about so many different topics today, from the past to the future. But the common thing is you don't really know where you're going if you don't know where you come from.
That's
So,
the thing.
and in the whole tattoo history thing, it's like you want to know. Oh, Flex is here, quick. No, but you want it. Like I've known Flex for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's been good. But you want to know where tattooing came from.
Yeah.
To especially in your area, like Brunswick, you go, oh yeah, mate. Reese used to work at the Club X sex shop up the
And
road.
then longer like
But you
Des
know, one
and
day,
Alf Minions,
there's-
you know. Yeah.
if you meet some local Brunswick freaks, ask if they know Banana.
Yeah.
Like Banana's been around there forever. He's got some of my early tattoos I did on him.
We'll look
I
out for
think
Banana,
I actually
yeah.
did one on his ass, each ass cheek that said, "You can lick it, you can suck it, but you can't fuck it." And
That sounds like a rap.
that's where we stop.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's where we
Again.
stop.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.